Welcome to the Real Estate Pros of Houston podcast, where host Mark Zachary talks to high-producing real estate agents in the Houston area about their story and what makes them so successful. Each episode, our guests will tell you what they're doing that works and what makes them so successful, as well as insights that will help you take your business to the next level. Now, here's Mark delivering a true real estate pro of Houston.
Hey everybody, it's Mark with Next Step Home Loans, and we are on another podcast of Real Estate Pros of Houston. And today we have a friend of mine that I've known for a long time in this industry, but it's been a long time since we've talked. And I'm excited to hear about her story, and you're going to love hearing her story. She's one of the most successful agents around. The purpose of this podcast is to introduce you, the public, to the top agents around. And so we only go after the top agents in the area and people that I just really enjoy getting to know and respect what they do. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Well, good. It's a lot of fun. And like I was saying before we hit the live button, you'll be surprised at how fast this goes. But if you ever want to learn how to do one of these things, I'll be glad to sit down and show you how to get it going. Lots of fun. You get to meet some really cool people. And when you do a podcast, people see your podcast and then they want to interview you about what you do. So I've been interviewed 2 times on other podcasts, and so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I always like to start off our conversation with, Jennifer, tell me your story. How long have you been in the Houston area? Where were you born? How did you get in this industry? What was your first job? I mean, it can go so many different ways, but kind of tell me your story. Where are you from? And we'll go from there.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Louisiana, Mark, and I think you know that. I moved to Houston in 2007. So I'm originally from North Louisiana, which is Ruston, which is very different from South Louisiana. But I went to college at LSU, which a lot of people know that. So I'm pretty vocal about that, avid fan.
Yeah.
And then I spent a couple of years in Memphis working there. And then, like I said, in 2007, moved here to Houston to follow oil and gas. And then I worked in oil and gas until 2016. And then I decided to pursue a career in real estate, which I know a lot of people do for different reasons. But what's actually funny is real estate was always something I'd wanted to do. In high school, you have career days and you get to choose somebody you want to shadow or whatever. I chose a realtor, which is completely random. Who does that? But that's who I chose to shadow because that's what I wanted to do. I took a different route after college, did the finance role, the audit role for a little while, and then came back to real estate eventually and have loved it. It was a good move.
Well, I know it's been a good week for you. This was the week that LSU came back and won the national championship. So congratulations on that. And so that I had to get your week off to a good start, even though Sunday didn't turn out quite like anybody expected it to. No. But kudos to you guys for coming back and winning it all. And you got anytime you can compete with LSU in football, baseball, any of that, you've done pretty well. Because I'm a big A&M fan, you know that, and we don't beat LSU very often, but so we charge the field when we do. So, well, good. So you've been in the business, the real estate business, for how long now?
This is my 7th year. I'm in my 7th year, going on 8. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, is a lot of your family still back in Louisiana?
So my parents are in Louisiana. I was just there for Father's Day in Ruston, but my sister and her family live in Tennessee. And then a lot of my family is actually in the College Station, Houston area because they are Aggies.
Oh my gosh, that ought to be fun around Thanksgiving in the football season, huh?
It is some good rivalry, some good jabs going on.
Well, we actually stole one from you last last November, and but now we got to go to Death Valley. Now I would love to go to a game in Death Valley. That just seems like an awesome place to watch football.
Yeah, it
So
is.
so in regards to your business, what gets you up in the morning? What drives you to succeed like you do?
Um, I think it's understanding that this is a business, and in order to be successful in anything, you got to get up every morning and work that business, and work for your clients. You don't have the opportunity to uh, let it slack or sleep in. And I'm a competitive person by nature, and so just I guess that drive to run a successful business and do well for myself and do well for my clients and meet their expectations.
So I guess what you're saying is you can't just this job isn't super easy. You do have a very flexible schedule, but this is you have to look at this as an 8 to 5, not even eight to five. This is almost a 7 day a work week type position. You can't just lollygag around, I guess, can you?
No, no, you can't. And the flexibility is a blessing and a curse, right? Because if you let the flexibility drive your business, you'll never be successful. So
Yeah.
you've got to set your own parameters and your own rigidity around it and not let that flexibility take over it. But then you do get the benefits of that on the back end as well.
Yeah, I think so many people that jump into this business, they look at the flexibility and the freedom that people have in this business, and they don't realize that you just can't treat it like that. This is a full time job, and you can't just act like a part timer. And those that are acting like that, they are not part of this industry very long.
Right.
I heard it was that there was a stat, and maybe you can confirm this, but I heard 87% of all agents are in and out of this business within a few years. And
Mhm.
there's over 50,000 real estate agents between Galveston and Conroe, and only about 10% of those do more than one or two deals a year. Did you
Mhm.
know that?
I had heard that I think it was like 1% of the agents are who, are your
Yeah.
active agents in the Houston area, because there are a ton of people with their license. And I don't know how you do it part-time, because it's not just the transactions that you've got to keep up with and the clients you've got to keep up with, but you've got to be a student of the market. And by that, I mean, you've got to study the market, you've got to know the market, you've got to know the numbers. And that doesn't just mean going out there and showing houses and doing deals. It means being the expert for your clients, because they expect that. And so we've got to understand, what the economy's doing, what the market's doing. And so that's part of it as well. And you just can't be a part-timer and do it all and be what you need to be for your clients.
Yeah. Well, what does success mean for you, and how do you how do you define it?
Ooh, that is a really good question. Um, Success would be meeting my goals. And by that, I mean, I set goals every year of this is how much business I want to do. This is how many transactions I want to do. And this is my game plan. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. But I heard something the other day. I was watching a show and it was talking about a champion mindset. And a champion mindset is understanding you're not going to be 100% successful all the time, but still getting out there and doing the work when you're not successful. So
Yeah.
to me, that is part of being successful, is understanding you're going to have failures, but if you're successful, if you get up and you do it again, eventually it will even out in your favor. And so just having that champion mindset, like that's being successful to me.
Yeah, I heard somebody say the other day, and I'm a huge baseball fan. I used to play in high school and a year in college, and they said, the pros that make millions of dollars and make all-star teams and Hall of Famers, and those guys fail 70% of the time. And if you can hit 300, you're paid very well to succeed 30% of the time and
Mhm.
fail 70%. And Trout, the guy in Anaheim, had a big quote about that not too long ago. He said, the best thing you can learn in this business and in any business is you're going to fail sometime, and
Mm-hmm.
you got to get back up, just like you said, or you don't even start,
Yeah.
because you're gonna have challenges and failures all along the way.
Yeah. And not being short-sighted about it either, because real estate as an investment and as a business is a long-term game. And especially talking to my clients about that right now, affordability, it's no secret, affordability of housing is tough right now. And it's
Yeah,
challenging for a lot of our clients, and it's frustrating for a lot of our buyers. And so just encouraging them to be patient, you know. The house doesn't
yeah,
have to happen overnight. We've got different timelines that we've got to meet, and we want to be cognizant of that, but just be patient, wait for the right house to come along. It's a long-term game, and this is all going to even out at the end of it. So giving them that comfort and reminding them, don't be short-sighted,
yeah,
take your time. It's a long-term game, long-term return.
yeah. And when people are buying a home, I bought my first home in Austin for $57,000. I think so many people, you buy that first one, and then you sell it and you move up. Then you sell that when you move up. I think so many, and you can confirm it, but do you see people that's just like, okay, they come out of college and now they want their forever home, and there's no steps that they take to get to
Yeah.
that dream home? Or do you see that as well?
I do see that. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. I just kind of started that, and it became my niche, and I like it. I enjoy teaching people. I enjoy training people. So if you get good first-time home buyers, a lot of times they're teachable, and so you can walk them through that process. So walking them through of, hey guys, let's take a look at what you really need, and think about this as a snowball. We don't have to hit it out of the park the first go around. Doesn't have to be your dream home. But that kind of goes back to what you and I were talking, I think, before we started recording, about setting people's expectations in this tight market of, what do you really need, right? Do you really need that dream home? Do you really need, all the bells and whistles? If you can afford it and you want it, great, go get it. But maybe we can help you get there, but just over time. And you will get
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
And it starts with building that equity with that first house.
yeah. And I think people have they see their mom and dad, they've in their dream home, but they don't uh, they don't see the work that it took to get there. They're
Mhm.
not willing to take the different steps to get to where their friends are, or their family members maybe they are at. And so it's an interesting concept. So tell me a little bit about your first time to buy a house. How was the experience? Did that have any impact on your decision to get into real estate?
Okay, so I was a late bloomer. I actually had my real estate license before I bought my first home. And a
Really?
lot of that, it's a good story because it's a good testament to a misconception that I had about what it took to buy a home. So I didn't buy my first home until I was 36. And I
Really?
thought before then, well, first of all, my first professional jobs, I worked in audit. So I was traveling 75% of the time. So not having a home, and I'm, not married, so not having anybody to take care of it, that was a decision maker. But I thought you had to have 20% down, plus you needed to have an extra 10,000 for closing cost minimum, plus an extra 5,000 for the, I thought, how do
Wait,
people buy
wait, wait,
houses?
wait. Where do people learn that from? It blows me away that a lot, you're not the only one that thinks that,
Right.
because I get up every morning and I watch the financial news, and I hear the same people all the time saying 20% down. You need 20% down. And I just want to scream and think, why are you on TV? Because we have so many programs that are zero down, 3.5% down, 1% down. They don't know that. So you weren't the only one that thought that.
Yeah. No, I wasn't educated. And I thought, man, I need just $100,000 of cash just laying around disposable that I can throw at a house before I can buy something. So it was really a lack of education. is why I didn't buy for so long.
So was the process good for you? Was it a challenge for you? Was it enlightening to know that you had to go through certain things that others have had to go through in the past?
It really was honestly pretty easy for me because I had been selling real estate for a couple of years. Because, as you know, when you go into selling real estate, you're a 1099. You've got to have a couple of years of tax returns before you can think about buying once you're a self-employed. Or I don't know, maybe you have different products, but it was, it was enlightening for me in the terms of I got to be in my buyer's shoes personally and see what they go through. But at the same time, having an understanding of what was expected, it was pretty easy. You have good people like you on the finance side that are handling, the loan and handling the transaction. You guys are easy to work with. You make it apparent what you need. And it's kind of like you just walk through the process one step at a time. It's kind of like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? That's like buying a house. It can be overwhelming if you let it get too big.
You bite it one bite at a time, or you eat it one bite at a time, or you let somebody else help you eat it one bite at a time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, well, when as you've been growing up and in this business, what is one thing you wish you would have done differently? Whether it's personal, whether it's professional, something like that. Is there something you would go back and change that you've done in the past?
Absolutely. I would have started selling real estate right out of college because it's what I wanted to do. And I'd have started it sooner and I'd have bought sooner.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd have bought a house sooner. I think if there's lots of reasons that people rent, and there's nothing wrong with that. I know as realtors, we're always like, oh, don't throw your money away. You always have to buy it. There are certain circumstances where it's just better for people
Yeah.
to rent. But in most cases, financially, long term, it's better to go ahead and buy. And like you said, start that process towards your dream home. Start building that equity. Start putting yourself in a good position as a
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. It's so true. And in regards to your business, and you would have started earlier, but what are some challenges that you've had in your business growing in the last 6-7 years, I guess? What were some challenges that you had in the past and your more recent challenges?
I think the biggest challenge has been this. I hate to say unprecedented because I hate to use that word, but this unprecedented market that we've had over the last few years. It's been very unpredictable. So being able to guide clients through unpredictable times, and finances like that. My background is finance. Nobody has a crystal ball. You make an educated guess. I talked about earlier about being a student of the market and really understanding the economy. So that way you can make the best educated decision and advise your clients that way. But I think the biggest challenge has just been this wacky market that we've
Yeah.
had where nobody's really known where interest rates are going to go or where the top is, or, and then there's all this question of, well, what if home prices crash and where's the top and where's the bottom? And we're just kind of all on this roller coaster together. And so it's been challenging really to advise people when you've got such a crazy market right now.
Yeah, but that brings the good point that you made earlier, that real estate is a long game, right? And so even with the crash of 2009, 10, crazy times back then, when there were loan programs that were should not have been in the market but were, and so people just bought. They didn't have home. They didn't have a job. They had no money, and so the market crashed when all those things started going into foreclosure. Well, if you were to look at that short period of time, that was a bad time to invest. But now you're way above where the issues were back in 2009, 10, and all that appreciation that was lost has now been gained back plus some. And
Mm-hmm.
that's such a good point that you made, that the industry goes up and down all the time, but historically the trajectory is up always, and
Yep.
and if you stay in this real estate industry and you buy a house and you stay in it, yeah, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, you're going to make money when you sell. It's not 100%, but it's pretty pretty sure that you're going to be making money, and you can invest some of that equity that you built up into your
Sure.
next home. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna.
you're definitely right. I've never met anybody that's bought a house 10 years ago and said, man, that was the worst decision of my life was to
Yeah,
buy. You never meet anybody that says that. And everybody wants to get into all these exotic new ways of investing. You've got cryptocurrency and things like that. And I'm not saying those aren't good, but if you want to just look at small, incremental, reliable, safe investments, real Bitcoin's going to do this all the time,
yeah,
up, down, up, down. And real estate is just slow and steady. May have some
yeah,
dips in there, but overall it's a really safe, good, sound investment for people. And
yeah.
that's why so many people want to be in it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have a screen that I keep open all day long, and it has the mortgage-backed securities, how they're trading on Wall Street, and it's just this like this, but it's just like this as it goes up, and that has to do with the values of the homes and things. So anyway,
Mhm.
it's a interesting uh, industry to be in. So during all this time, was there ever a time you were like, "Man, I'm out. I'm getting this is too much for me. I don't like this up and down." And is there a time that you wish you would have gotten out and tried something else?
Nope. And that's
No.
the honest truth. No, I've
Yeah.
never wanted to do something else since I've gotten started in this. It's
Okay.
been really good. And it's not just about, the success. Yeah, that's happened and it's been great. And I attribute that to my clients 100%. I have been blessed with some of the best clients out there in the world. And I'm so, so thankful for that because I think they're the main reason that I love being in my job and I love doing what I do.
What do you do? I've done probably, I think you're maybe the 22nd out of 50,000 agents. You're the 22nd one that has been on the show, and so that is very that that tells you
Yes.
how good you are. Of course, you know how good you are, but what are three? Well, I'm gonna back up. All of the people that I have interviewed have a really good plan to grow their business. And a lot of them have a plan that stays in front of their past clients. So when they need you again, they call Jennifer Lofton. They know who helped them out the first time and who's going to help them out the second, third, and fourth time. And the
Mhm.
people that I've seen that struggle the most in this business, they're very transactional. They get their commission check and they're off to the next person, and they never contact that buyer again. And yet they say on their social media, their email signatures, I'm going to be your realtor for life. Well, if you want to
Mhm.
be the realtor for life, you have to talk to them during their life and not just the 30, 40, 50 days that you're working with them. So
Yep.
do you have a plan to stay in touch with people, and is that a big part of your business?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I read a stat earlier this week, and it was they had interviewed people that bought homes in the last 2 years, and I think the stat was something like 80+% said, "Yeah, I'll use my realtor again," but only 11% do. So it's not necessarily that they're unhappy with the service you provided. That's only a part of it. So yeah, it's definitely the plan is, you've got to stay in front of those people because people's memories are very short lived. Doesn't mean you did anything wrong or they didn't appreciate what you did. But if you're not in front of them constantly and building those relationships, you're going to lose them as clients again down the road and maybe lose some referrals from them and not asking for referrals from people, being very direct about that. It's not easy for me, but you have to just straight up ask your clients, hey, do you have any friends? Would you refer me?
Yeah,
You got to ask the question to people because
yeah.
they
I,
want
I
to.
saw. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they want to refer you. It's just you've got to remind them to.
That's what I was about to say. The stat that I saw in NAR was National Association of Realtors was the people that you close would refer 3 times in the first 12 months. And if you stay in touch with them, that one becomes 4. And if those 4 refer 3, there's 12. And I mean, this thing just gets going so crazy. And it's that snowball effect that you mentioned earlier, that if you just stay in front of these people, you would never have to do any lead gen again if you did the right thing with the people you've already closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we still
So,
try to add not just send emails and cards and phone calls and social media, but we try to do events and value added things. Like just last night, I held an event for past clients of mine who are interested in short term rental properties,
oh,
where we
really?
just had some speakers there and just giving information and giving them the tools. People ask us all the time, how do we get into that market? Okay, well, let's, get a property management company in here that does this all the time to talk about what it really takes to be successful. So even doing
Yeah.
things like that for our clients, it's not just adding value while you're in the moment and the transaction and you're working for that paycheck, but adding value, down the road in their life and being helpful.
Right. Well, what are 3 non-negotiables for you in regards to your business? What are 3 things that has to happen every week, or all hell's going to break loose?
Oh, goodness, Mark, that's a good one. I don't know. Hold on. You're going to have to give me a second to think about that one. Um, One is, and this one's a tough one, but you got to work your CRM. You got to stay in front of people. You got to get up.
Wait,
You've got
wait, wait. I teach a class all the time, and I'm shocked at the at the number of people that don't even know what a CRM is. So tell us what a CRM is. And oh my God, I don't even want to get started on this because I'm shocked at the number of people that doesn't keep a CRM. But you're exactly right. And then we're going to go to the other 2.
Yeah. So your CRM, or what a CRM is, and you know this, it's a customer relationship management system. It's basically where all of our friends, where all of our past clients, where all of our future clients, where they all go into this database, and it helps us keep track of people.
Yeah.
Because people, you don't mean to forget about them. You don't mean to fall off, your communication with them, but unless they're staying in front of you and top of mind and vice versa, the communication doesn't just naturally happen. You've got to have a system in place where you are intentional about making connections, and it's got to be value added connections, right? It's not just flinging your name out in front of them. It's about
It's
making
not just sending a newsletter, a real estate newsletter, right?
Right, right. It's about making actual connections with people, making a phone call. Some people don't answer, sending a text. I've even found, and this sounds cheesy, but social media is a good way to stay organically connected with your client base because you're engaged in their day to day life. It's not just a transaction, it's a person. And
Yeah.
keeping up with life changes with them and really keeping that communication uh, viable and real.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to do it organically
Yeah.
and keep up with what they're doing.
Yeah, I have everybody that closes with me. I have a private Facebook group, and it's called the Next Step Home Loans Family, and it is only people that I have closed a loan with, and so I keep up with everybody in there. I'll we'll give recognition to maybe somebody went back to college after their kids left for college, and they wanted to finally go get a degree, and so we'll give recognition to different things in there, and so I've got clients of mine that are congratulating other clients of mine on different achievements. So that is great. That's a great point and it just reminded me of the one that I do, Next Step Home Loans Family. It's a great way to keep in touch.
It is, and social media is not a billboard. It's meant to be a conversation piece,
Yeah.
and engage people that way. So
Yeah.
CRM
All
is
right.
non-negotiable.
Okay. All right. So that's one. What are two others?
Um, Staying abreast of the market. Like I said, you really have to be a student of the market, especially with things changing so much day in, day out. Staying on top of your numbers. So I have different neighborhoods that I'll get up, and I always check the median home price, days on market, how many listings are currently on the market, and just so that way I can be, a resource for clients, because you're not just opening doors and showing houses and walking them through a contract. You're an expert. And so you've really got to stay on top of that. So being intentional about staying on top of the market, not just here in Houston, but nationally as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. Any others?
Those are really the two big ones. As far as
Okay.
how I run my business. And then obviously handling the transactional stuff. You've
Yeah.
got to take care of your clients and make sure that everything's on track there. But that's the easy part, is walking them through the transaction. It's really more of the relational aspect and servicing your client. That's the really important part. Anybody can do a contract and stumble you through a transaction. It's the service that makes it different.
Yeah. Well, I think you mentioned one earlier that may not seem like a big deal to you, but it's a big deal. It's just you get up every day and you have a schedule, and so that's obviously non-negotiable for you. You don't do this part-time. This is your job, and you have to get up every day and treat it as such. So. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm going to flip back over to a personal uh, question. What is
Okay.
one thing you wish you would have done that you haven't done yet, but you still have the plans to do it? Skydiving. I had a guy said, "Hey, I'm going to write a book. I want to go skydiving. I want to do this or that." What is one thing you would love to do that you haven't done yet?
Okay. You're going to think I'm crazy. I would
Go to
love.
A&M.
No.
Go take classes.
Exactly. No, it's I would like to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, which
Really?
is, yes, and you may know what that is. And I
No, I actually don't. And I didn't want to sound stupid by acting
no,
like
it's
I.
okay. A lot of people probably don't know what it is, but I hope to do it one day. It is a trail that starts at the border of Mexico and California and goes all the way through the Sierras to Canada. And it's
Oh
about
my gosh!
2,600 miles and takes about
You
five
want
to
to
six.
hike that whole thing?
I do. I do. But I
Wow!
think I will. I've made myself a concession of that's ultimately what, like a bucket list item. I would love to do that. But there's a
Yeah.
section of it called the John Muir Trail, and it starts in Yosemite and goes to Mount Whitney, and it's only 220 miles, and it takes about 17 days. Much more doable.
So do you like to hike a lot, and do you do that on your time off or whenever that may be?
Yeah. No, I do like to hike a lot, and when I can get the opportunity, it's hard here in Houston. We don't have a whole lot of elevation change, and you do have to get out of the state to really. Well, that's not true, because Big Bend and Guadalupe Peak has got some good hiking opportunities, and
Yeah.
Paladura Canyon, but none of those are really that close to Houston. But yes, I love to do that, and
Yeah.
get out and get away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that is quite the hike. I have
Yeah.
a I have a my therapist, my PT therapist, is a huge hiker, and so I always kid her. I said, "You get a 3 day weekend and you run off to Utah," and
Mm.
she drives all this way because she loves to go hiking everywhere, and she'll go to New Mexico and does Colorado, and so, man, I guess if it's in your blood, you just want to do it all the time.
Yeah. You do. It gets in your blood, and it's just, there's nothing like being out on the trail and away from everything to just empty your mind
Yeah.
and get some clarity. So
Yeah.
get away from everything. You get all the distractions are gone.
Do you accidentally leave your phone in the car or at home during those times?
I do leave my phone a lot of times, but honestly, most of the places you're gonna lose service anyway. So
No.
you have your phone to take pictures, but that's about it.
My daughter went to PA school in West Virginia. And man, there were some beautiful, beautiful places to hike in West Virginia. So if you haven't been up that way, you ought to go check out Charleston. I don't know. There's plenty of places in West Virginia to go hiking. Beautiful, beautiful place, and especially in the fall when the leaves are changing colors and all of that stuff. So
Well, I don't think people, well, maybe more so during COVID, but people forget how much the US has to offer in terms of things to go and see and do and get out. And so I think COVID opened a lot of people's eyes to, the national parks, which have just been bursting at the seams since
yep.
then.
Well,
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows is Yellowstone, and now I want to go to Wyoming and all that area because that looks gorgeous, gorgeous as well. All right, so we're coming up on 35 minutes. It's I told you it would go pretty fast, and I haven't even
Yeah.
got through page one of my questions, but um, one that I always like to ask agents, backing up into your real estate world, what is one thing you would tell yourself now, or you would go back and tell yourself to do that you've learned during your time in the industry? What would you go back and tell yourself if you were starting over?
Talk less, listen more. Really, your clients, yeah, you need to help guide them and give expertise, but
Hmm.
it's their deal. And so listening to them, hearing what they're saying, you don't always have to have the answers. So listen more, talk
Yeah,
less.
interesting. There's not many people that do that for sure. Do you ever think you have had a big break, like wow, that was my break, and or is it no, I haven't really had any breaks in this business. I work hard at what I do, and I create my own break. And there's nothing wrong with getting a break, but do you ever think you got one, or you have earned everything that you've the breaks that you've gotten? It's because of something you did.
Yeah, no, I think I've definitely gotten some breaks. And I think that's part of life is recognizing when you do get, breaks in life. There are some transactions that are a grind. There are some times that, man, you just work, 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 and you don't see the return. But every now and then you do get a break where you're like, man, that was really fortunate. That was really lucky. It doesn't mean you didn't work for it. It doesn't mean you didn't put in the work to get that break. But at the same time, recognizing that you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your really hard times and you're going to have your really easy times. And
Yeah.
so just keeping the balance between the two.
Mm, okay. Do you see yourself just kind of walking away from this business after a career, or are you wanting to build something to sell down the road, or just gonna keep? Are you a one man show? Maybe that's where it should start. Is what your team look like, and are you wanting to build a team, or I like working with me. I like handling everything, and I'm gonna just do that as long as I can, or I'm gonna build a team and eventually sell the business.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. And it gives me an opportunity to give major props to one of my biggest breaks. And that is that I am on a team and I work with Thomas Miles. He's my team lead. It's just me and him.
Okay.
But working with him, he and I have been together since 2018. And we just kind of started working together like, hey, let's do some deals together. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, and it's worked out really well. I know for me, I hope for him as well. But I would consider working with him a huge break. We have talked about different options as far as what we want to do down the road. Not just as far as the business here and now, but what we want to build down the road. So we've had a lot of conversations about different avenues and different paths that, may be available, because that's ideal, is to build a business and have something to sell down the road.
Yeah. Well, so where did you guys meet?
So we were both at Keller Williams, the memorial office together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you've been over, it's Compass, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Since when?
19. We came over in December 2019.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I'd like to wrap up before I go to the lightning round. That I heard a question by a friend of mine the other day, and thought, man, that is a dang good question. I'm gonna finish every one of my podcasts with that question going forward. And the question is, the president of the United States, whoever it is, and it doesn't matter what the political affiliation, it just matters. The president of the United States is calling you, and he says, Jennifer Lofton, I need he or she. That was kind of sexist. The president, he or she calls Jennifer Lofton and says, I need you to come here because I need you to do this. What is that skill that the president of the United States is requiring of you?
To get the job done, whatever it is, just get it done, figure it out, problem solve, work through it, and get the job done. That might seem very vague, but that's a skill, is helping get people from point A to point B on a project, especially a difficult one.
Yeah, because I guess that's what you do on a daily basis, is you just get the job done. You're bringing a buyer and seller together, and you're negotiating the settlement between the different parties, and you're just getting it done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's down to the simple level there, that you're just getting it done.
Yeah.
But isn't that why you're a real estate pro of Houston? Because you just get it done on a daily, weekly, and a yearly basis. I mean, that's
on a regular basis. Yeah. A lot of people want to sit back and complain and talk about, it's kind of like not recognizing when you get a break, or complaining about all the hurdles. It's like, just get it done.
Yeah.
Work through those challenges. Look at them as opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to go to the lightning round. We're at 42 minutes, and I told you 45 is normal. So we're right on schedule. So
Okay.
who is your favorite author or speaker?
Favorite author or speaker? Oh, that one's tough. Lightning's supposed to be fast. I really enjoy reading C.S. Lewis. That's probably my favorite author. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I've read a couple of his books as well. Favorite vacation spot?
Colorado.
Is it for hiking?
Yeah. The mountains.
Yeah. Yep. Favorite pastime or hobby?
I like running. It's like
Really?
meditation. Yep.
Did you
Get
do that
out
in
and try
college?
to go run 4 to 5 times a week, which is hard right now since it's so hot.
I just can't imagine. Cannot imagine. Did you do that in college or high school, or what was your passion of when did that start?
College, because I played basketball, played organized sports in high school, and then you go to college and you think, well, what do I do now? And I thought, well, I can go. LSU's got a great section called the Lakes. It's 4-mile loop. Okay, I can go run that. Now it's just a good time for me to check out and in the summer just sweat it out.
Yeah, gosh. All right, favorite movie?
Okay, so I don't know if this one's my favorite, but I just watched it and it is one of my favorites. I hadn't seen it in about 10 years, and The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It's a random one, but it's really good.
I guess I
Should
need to
check
go
it out.
check that out because
I know.
I
Threw
don't
you a
think I've said.
curveball. You'll have to watch that one.
Okay, you know, I ask these all the time, and I think I have 22 movies that I need to go watch because all of you pros have different, great movies that you love to watch. So,
Yeah.
all right, I kind of think I know this last answer, but favorite sports team.
LSU.
I knew it. I knew it.
Go Tigers.
That was a dumb question.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, we'll wrap the podcast up, and I tell you what, Jennifer, it's been great having you on, and we had the opportunity to meet several years back, and I've always enjoyed watching you on social media, and you're great at what you do, and so if anybody wants to get in touch with you about either joining your team or I want to rent, I want to sell, I want to buy. How did they? I know we got the number scrolling across the bottom, but maybe someone is listening on the podcast versus watching it on YouTube. So give us all the contact information, and we'll have all of this in the bio as well in the intro. So give us all of that information.
Okay. So yeah, you can always call me or text me at that number, but you can also email me. It's really simple. It's just jennifer.lofton@compass.com, the brokerage that I'm at. And then also we have a website called milesandcoproperties.com, which you can get in touch with us there. And then we've got some great tools for you if you want to know the value of your home, you want to know more about your neighborhood and what's going on in that market. We've got a lot of really cool things on there for you guys to go check out.
Okay. And what's the phone number again?
713-417-5615.
All right. Great. Thank you so much again for joining us today. And we look forward to having you back. If you'll carve out some time for us, we'd love to have you back.
Oh, well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate you having me today.
Okay, you bet. Well, guys, it's been great having you back again on our latest episode of Real Estate Pros of Houston, Real Estate Pros of Houston. And we hope that you enjoyed getting to know Jennifer. And if there's anything I can do for you on the financing side, certainly give us a call. My number is 832-504-9014, or you can visit our website at nextstephomeloans.com. So we'll let you go for now, and we'll see you next week on Real Estate Pros of Houston. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Real Estate Pros of Houston. Follow us on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple, and iHeartRadio, and check out our main website at nextstephomeloans.com for more information on mortgage news, loan programs, and getting pre-approved for a home loan or set up a quick home buying consultation. We'll see you next week with another episode of Real Estate Pros of Houston.